I'm waiting for Cass to crumble. You're sick, Leigh Bardugo, you're sick. I love it. Hi and welcome to this video. Today I'm finally gonna be reading Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. This book has probably been recommended to me the most ever. I've heard so many people say that this is their favorite book of all time, so I'm really excited to read it and see if I'm gonna like it as well. Now, I'm probably one of the very few people left who has never read this book, but today we're gonna change that. I'm very excited to learn what this story is all about. I don't know anything about it. I'm going in knowing pretty much nothing about this story. I have watched a couple of the episodes from the Shadow and Bone series on Netflix. That show tries to combine the Shadow and Bone trilogy with the Six of Crows characters, but the story in this book is completely unique. It's not in the series, so I don't know what this is about or what's going to happen. So I have seen the characters, a couple of them, not all of them actually. I have only watched about 4 or 5 episodes from that series. Of course, the series is gonna have major spoilers for the books, so I stopped watching. I first want to read the books and then I'll finish the series. That was one of the reasons why I stopped. I also have kind of a bone to pick with the series because there's a lot of plot holes. I think the plot is not the strongest part of the series. I think the series is good. There's a lot of great things about it. I love the actors and I think the casting is really well done. I love the settings and the costumes. I can make a whole commentary on that series alone. I think it's really entertaining and well done overall. I just think the plot is not the strongest part of the series. So I'm really hoping that the plot is going to be a little bit better in this book. So let's find out. So I have this beautiful edition with red foiling on the cover. It has a lot of symbols which I think resemble the characters. This book also has maps in both the beginning and at the end, as well as character art. Can we actually take a moment for this author portrait, because wow, that is a really good picture. After that we have the character artwork, which I really like. It highlights all the unique features of the characters and I think it's really well done. However, I think the characters are supposed to be like 15 to 18 years old, but these characters are not 18. I mean, I think Matthias is supposed to be like the oldest and he looks like a 40-year-old man here. So I don't know what the pitch was, but I love the artwork. They're just not teenagers. Nina as well. Like how is this a 14-year-old girl? I don't know. But I love that it's added in this book. I've now read 100 pages of this book, so I really want to give you my first thoughts on it. Let's start with the positives. I'm really enjoying it. I think the characters are really well done. They're really the highlight of this book. The characters have just teamed up to do a heist together, so they're kind of getting to know each other. They don't trust each other yet. Some of them have histories, but others are unfamiliar with each other, so we're kind of getting to know them as well. It's kind of like a pop group, you know, you have these girl group bands and boy bands where every member is just a little bit unique so that every listener or viewer can have someone to relate to. That's the same with this one. It's basically a mixed band and you can relate to any one of them. They all have a unique story and strengths and weaknesses, and we're kind of being introduced to them. Leigh Bardugo does this really well, where she connects symbols to each character. So as you can see on the front, there are a bunch of symbols. You have the wolves, you have the guns, the knives, the crow, and every symbol can be connected to a character. So every time you see a symbol or you hear a word, you're reminded of that character. So it's really well done. They all have something going on, their own motivation, and they're not sharing everything with the group. But because we're getting multiple POVs, we're getting that little bit of information. So we know what the characters' motivations are, and there's still a little bit of mystery left. So the past couple of chapters have been about them talking about the heist, which has been so much fun. I've been really enjoying those chapters. You really get to know them and kind of see how they interact. And again, Leigh Bardugo does this really well, where she says one thing and then the characters all respond in their own way. So for example, they're drawing the map of the place they're gonna steal from, and one person describes it as a tree with rings, and then another person responds, no, it's a cake with layers. And then another person responds, no, it's a target. And you can kind of see how each of them thinks and how they approach a different situation. And then again, the leader says, like, how would you rob someone? And then they all give answers which are reflective of the way they think and what they are good at and what they've been through. So in that way, you kind of get to know the characters really well. So I think that's really well done. So right now, I'm really enjoying the story. I really want to see what happens next, and I'm only 100 pages in, so that's a good sign. I think the beginning of this book was a little bit more difficult to get into because there's a lot of terminology and concepts and world building that is quite difficult to understand, in my opinion. I'm not sure if you're supposed to have read Shadow and Bone before this, because I think then you would be more familiar with the terminology and the magic system. I'm really happy that there's a map, because I had to look at the map a bunch of times in the first 100 pages. I'm still getting to know the magic system and the words and what everything means, but I feel like I'm getting the hang of it a little bit, so that's a good sign. I haven't even told you what this book is about. So for the people that don't know, this book is about a group of 6 people who are coming together to commit a heist because there has been this drug on the market. These people all have their motivations to stop this from getting onto the market, mostly money though. So if they commit this heist and they can prevent this drug from entering the market, they will get a lot of money, which they all need. That's kind of the summary of what I know until now. The story is set in Rotterdam, which is inspired by Dutch cities like Amsterdam, Rotterdam, which means there's a lot of Dutch words being used, especially in the prologue. A lot of the names are like Dutch names, which, as a Dutch person, is really cringe to read. It's really bad. I was kind of afraid that it was going to be a deal breaker and make me hate this book, but luckily right now there's a limited amount of Dutch being used. Also, the names of the characters like Kaz, Inej, Wylan, not really Dutch names. I personally do not know anyone with that name, so it's kind of more doable. But those are the things that I want to update you on. I'm really enjoying this story. If I had to choose my favorite character right now, I would say, I think Jasper. I'm really liking Jasper, but we're also getting to know more about Kaz. So I'm really liking Kaz as well. I just read something, like there was this little line that said that Kaz did not like physical contact and did not like direct skin-to-skin contact, and I'm relating to that. So that's what I said, right? With the the boy-girl group band thing. There's always a character that you can relate to. That's why this works so well. We don't know much about Kaz yet. I feel like Kaz, right now he seems like a very untouchable villain. And I'm waiting for him to get a little bit more depth and to see where his vulnerabilities lie. I'm really interested in that. I don't like reading about just an invincible superhero, so I'm waiting for Kaz to crumble. That sounds really bad. I don't mean for him like to die or anything, but I just want to know what his motivation is and what his vulnerabilities are. And I kind of want to see him more humanized and less perfect, I guess. I think it's kind of fun to keep track of who my favorite character is throughout the book. Yeah, I'm really excited to get to know all of these characters. Wylan has just joined the group, so I will continue reading and I'll see you when I have an update. Hi, I've made some progress in Six of Crows, so I want to talk about it. I'm currently at page 275. I've just stopped at part 4, which I think is where they go into the prison. So I think it was a good stopping point for me to update you on everything that's been going on. I am loving this story. I'm loving it so much. I just don't want to stop reading. I'm enjoying it so much because the characters are really well done. They're really good. They're really complicated and fun, and I think I compared them to like the boy-girl band in the beginning, but that's really what it is. Everyone is so distinct and unique that you can relate to any of them. I had quite a hard time getting into this book, but now I'm 275 pages in. I've met all the characters. I'm starting to learn about their backstory, and I'm absolutely loving it. We've been getting a lot of backstory into all the characters, and I have to say, all these characters have such a traumatic backstory, and to think that they're only like teenagers is just really heartbreaking to me. So I think it makes the happy moments even more precious because you know what they've been through. So the story is that they're teaming up to kidnap this person who is inventing a drug. In this world, the countries are at war with each other, so if this drug was to come on the market, it will probably mean mass destruction, which is why a lot of countries are paying a lot of money to have this drug. And so the crows are also being paid a lot to take care of this person who is inventing the drug. The scientist who invented the drug is currently being held at the ice court, the ice prison, which is where the crows are currently headed to capture this guy. Because the countries are at war, there's of course a lot of discourse on who should have this drug and what should the crows do. Should they kill this person or not? Should they use the drug or not? It's also important to say that this drug is very harmful to the magicians. I'm just gonna call them Grisha now. I think everyone who's watching this will know. The Grisha are the powerful magicians of this world. So the drug is very harmful to Grisha. It's also very addictive, and all the Grisha that we've seen that used the drug have died, so it's really harmful to them. So even though this has a lot of implications for Grisha and for the war, the crows don't really have a political reasoning to stop this. They are mostly motivated by money. They're also just teenagers, so they are thinking about the money that they'll get once they kill the scientist, but they still need to pull it off. So that's kind of what the story is about. I'm really enjoying it. I think the characters are the strongest part of this book. I'm loving getting to know these characters. They all have such a complex and long history with each other that's really fun to read about. So I think I was going to update you on who my favorite character is right now. So when I last updated you, I think I was getting to know a lot more about Jesper, and I was really liking Jesper. But now we've read a lot more about Matthias and Nina. I'm still really interested about Inej, I don't feel like I know a lot about her. Kaz as well, he has his background with his brother, but I still don't know what happened to them. So I'm really excited to learn more about Kaz and Inej. Wylan, we don't know anything about. We know that he's like 14. He's the son of the merchants, big merchant guy in the Gatterdam. So we don't know anything about him. Now that I'm talking about it, it is a little bit strange to me how varying degrees of information we're getting about each character. Like I said, I feel like I don't know Wylan at all, which could mean that there's going to be a plot twist. We're getting the story of them going to the prison with like flashbacks and background information in between. They're kind of remembering things from the past. And I feel like we're getting different amounts of backstory for each character. So right now I feel like we know the most about Nina and Matthias and the least about Wylan and Jesper. But I'm really interested in getting to know all of these characters. Right now, I'm really liking Nina. I'm really liking Nina. I think she's so fun. I really like how positive she is. She's just talking about everything that she loves about this world, even though she's been through so much. So I really like Nina. Matthias, I'm not really feeling Matthias. But as I said, I'm really excited to get to know Inej and Kaz much more. I also am, of course, very excited to read the second book in this series. And I think, of course, we're going to get to know them even better in that one. I have the special edition of Six of Crows. I really want to order the special edition of the second book. I don't remember what it's called. Oh, Crooked Kingdom. I really want to order Crooked Kingdom now because I just want to keep reading. I don't want this to stop. But yeah, as I said, I'm currently 275 pages in. So I'm over halfway already. I cannot believe it. I don't want it to stop ever. So I'm really enjoying this book. I'm really liking it so far. I'm loving the characters and I will continue when I have an update. Kaz's backstory is killing me. Like, what do you mean? What do you mean he used his brother as a floaty? You're sick. Leigh Bardugo, you're sick. Oh my god. I love it. Kaz and Inej's relationship. I'm eating it up. I am eating it up. I want more of them. Also, Jesper is a Grisha. I'm loving it. I am loving it. Call me McDonald's because no, just don't call me McDonald's, okay? The story is getting so good and I can't believe I'm almost done. Like, I don't want it to end. I'm gonna have to order the second book because I don't want it to end. I'm so invested now into this plot. Also, that chapter of Inej climbing the incinerator, one of the most beautiful chapters I've ever read. It's my favorite part of the book right now. Inej is so strong and she's climbing the walls with Kaz's gloves. I love them all so much. I don't want this book to end. Hi, I have now finished reading Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo, and let me tell you, this book did not disappoint. For the last 100 pages or so, I was holding my breath to figure out what was going to happen, and I cannot wait to pick up the second book because I need to know what happens next. I am so invested in this story. I care so much about these characters. I want to learn about them and I want to see what is going to happen next. So I'm gonna need to pick up the second book as soon as possible. So yeah, this book really surprised me. I still cannot believe it took me so long to read it, but I'm really happy that I finally did because it was so good. The characters are so complex. The story, the world is just really complex and interesting. And I feel like the second book can go in many different ways. So I'm very excited to see where that story is going to go. I am genuinely really impressed with how much character development some of these characters go through in one single book. I mean, Nina, Inej, Matthias in particular really have to do some reflecting and dig deep within themselves for this mission, which I really wasn't expecting to read. There were some really heavy topics discussed in this book, like abuse and addiction, that I really wasn't expecting to read about. Yeah, they made the characters very real and complex, and it just made the book better, in my opinion. And now that I finished the book, it's really difficult to pick one favorite character because we've been through so much with them that I just can't help but love them all. But I do feel like we get to know some characters better than others. I think I've said it many times, but I love Jasper. I also think the actor in the show is really charismatic and he does Jasper really well. So I really like his character, but I do feel like I don't know much about him. Other than his guns and his gambling, I don't feel like I know much about his backstory and his motivations. So I really hope that we get to learn more about him in book 2. But right now, I think I love Inej the most. I mean, she's just so strong. She's so cool. I feel like the best part about her is that even though she's been through so much, she still cares and she still finds reasons to live for and to fight for. And she's just really strong and independent and confident. So I really love Inej. But as I said, I love all the characters. I hope we get more backstory for some of them in book 2, because I feel like this book does focus more on the backstory of Kaz and Matthias and Nina, and less on Wylan, Jasper, and maybe Inej. But I feel like it was setting up for more of an Inej story in book 2, so that's what I'm hoping for. So yeah, what more can I say? I think the plot was really interesting, specifically the part about the politics. In this world, everyone is at war with each other, so now a very important drug is introduced. Everyone wants it, and it's up to these 6 teenagers to save the world and prevent a war from happening. So I feel like the stakes were very high, which was necessary to root for these characters, and I think it was just really well done. Oh yeah, there was one particular thing which I really wanted to talk about, which is Kaz. When I first started reading this book, I was very annoyed with the character of Kaz. He was kind of everything that I did not want to read about. He is very mysterious and dark and invincible, basically. He's always one step ahead and he can never get caught. When you have characters that just get away with everything and are kind of invincible, the stakes for the story become really low because you know that they're never going to get caught or they're never going to die. And for me to care about this story, for me to care about the characters and this heist, it was really important that there were stakes, there was tension, and that something bad could happen. And in the beginning, with a character like Kaz, I just felt like it wasn't really there. But as I started reading and I learned more about Kaz's backstory, I realized he wasn't this mysterious, perfect guy. He actually had been through a lot and he had good reason to be so mistrusting and angry at the world. Whereas at first it seemed like it was just emo and aesthetic, he actually has really good reason to not trust anyone. His backstory is one of the worst. It hurt me so much to read that, and I just felt so bad for Kaz. I really want to give him a hug. But when he then does get a win at some point in the book, it feels like he earned it, and it feels kind of like a reward and less like the stakes are really low. So you were actually rooting for him by the end of the book. So I really liked his character progression, and that we first get to know very little of him and we get to learn more about his backstory and insecurities throughout this book. So as I said, I cannot wait to read book 2. Let me know if you want a reading vlog for that book as well. I really enjoyed reading this one. I am going to give it 5 stars because it was just really good. I fell in love with these characters. I cannot wait to watch the series as well. I have been told that I need to wait with watching the series until after I've read book 2 because there are massive spoilers. So I am going to read book 2 first and then watch the series. Let me know if you want to see a reading vlog or something else related to Six of Crows, because I'm more than happy to make more videos about this. I'm really invested in the series right now and I really want to know what's going to happen to these characters in book 2. So I'm going to give this 5 stars. I'm going to buy book 2 and hopefully have just as much of a great time as I did with this one. I want to thank everyone who has recommended this book to me, because you were right, this book is great. Thank you so much for recommending it to me. I'm very happy that I've read it finally. I also want to thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments if you've read Six of Crows and what other videos you would like to see on my channel. But for now, I'll see you in the next video.